Neurological disorders can lead to both physical and psychosocial dysfunction. The existing traditional interventions are most of the time monotonous and unengaging for the patients. As a solution, there exists a new emerging therapeutic intervention. One such device is ArmAble, which is an indigenously developed interactive arm rehabilitation device. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Sulfikar Ali, working as an assistant professor at the Department of Physiotherapy, Kasturba Medical College, Mangalore, affiliated to Manipal Academy of Higher Education. Today, I am going to talk about my own PhD. Neurological disorders can lead to both physical and psychosocial dysfunction that limit a person's ability to perform activities of daily life and eventually leads to anxiety, depression, and thereby reduces the quality of life of a person. Therefore, rehabilitation following a neurological disorder is of paramount importance. The existing traditional interventions are most of the time monotonous and unengaging for the patients. Therefore, as a solution, there exists a new emerging therapeutic intervention called game-based rehabilitation that provides repetitive and intensive training that is challenging, motivating, and provides feedback and cues to the participant that improves the adherence to the rehabilitation and thereby improves the function. Many of the gaming devices are made for the normal healthy individuals for the entertainment market, and those devices may not meet the requirement of a person with neuromusculoskeletal injury. So there is a need for customized gaming devices as the patient as well as the therapist concerned. One such device is ArmAble, which is an indigenously developed interactive arm rehabilitation device developed by BeAble Health Private Limited under the Center for Healthcare Entrepreneurship, IIT Hyderabad, India. The device consists of a computer monitor and a gaming console and attached on a platform and a height adjustable actuators. The games will be displayed on the computer, and the patient has to hold the console and they have to move their arm in front and back direction as well as right left direction by using their shoulder, elbow and wrist joints. So we as a team, myself and Dr. Senthil Kumaran D, who is an additional professor at the Department of Physiotherapy, Manipal College of Health Professions, and Dr. Ashokan Arumugam, who is an associate professor at the Department of Physiotherapy, College of Health Sciences, University of Sharjah, did a multicentric randomized clinical trial to assess the effectiveness of this ArmAble device on improving the arm function following a stroke. So we did this study at the Department of Physiotherapy of varying rehabilitation centers across India. A total of 120 participants were recruited who were diagnosed with unilateral stroke within the age group of 18 to 80 years of either gender, who were having some dysfunction in their upper limb and abnormal cognitive functions were included in this particular study. So these included participants were randomly and equally allocated into experimental group and a comparator group. The experimental group received gamified rehabilitation using the ArmAble device, and the comparator group received task-based upper limb rehabilitation. Both the group received the training for 45 to 60 minutes a day, 6 days a week for 2 weeks. Following in addition to the conventional therapy. Following this, both the groups received an upper limb functional rehabilitation at their home for another 4 weeks, and we took the follow-up assessment at the end of 6 weeks. And what we found was there was a statistically significant improvement in the upper limb function. Basically, the gross motor function was improved at 2 weeks in the experimental group compared to the comparator group. In addition, we also noticed there is a statistically significant improvement in the fine motor skills as well as the upper limb activity at the end of 6 weeks. In addition, we also observed improvement in the upper limb speed and velocity. When we assessed the user satisfaction with the device as well as the rehabilitation, the participants reported that the games in the device was creative, enjoyable, and they were able to progress into the next level without any much difficulty, and most of the games were motivating and exciting. So what are the reasons for this improvement? The first thing is the device has incorporated functional and ecologically validated games which mimic the activities of daily life. Like there are games like strike the mosquito, a cleaning task, or a delicious dosa where they have to make a dosa, etc. The second thing is the training was intensive and repetitive, which means the patients were unaware that they were into the rehabilitation, they were just playing the games. So there was enough, they were doing enough repetitions without realizing that they were in the rehabilitation. And the another thing is that the training was individualized, and we have given individualized training for each participant based on their interest and their motor capacity. In addition, the patients were getting feedback in terms of scores, rewards, and the time they have taken to complete the game as well as the distance covered during each game. The patients also were getting some multisensory feedback in terms of the visual. They were from the computer monitor, auditory, there is a music system, so they were getting auditory stimulus as well as the tactile stimulus while playing the game.
Four.
There are games that improves the gross motor function of the upper limb, because since the patient has to hold and move the console. In addition, there are games that improves the fine motor skills as well, because we have developed specific handles for each game. For example, there is a game pouring the water where they have to hold a mug handle and they have to pour the water. So there is a mug handle. Similarly, there are plate handle, there is pinch handle as well as unilateral handle, which was developed specific to each game. Also, the device allow you to perform the games or play the games in a closed kinetic chain pattern. This prevents the abnormal synergy patterns that happens or that occurs following a stroke. Also, the device allows bilateral arm training, so even though there is no movement in the affected upper limb, the patient can take assistance from the unaffected side and they can play the games. Once there is minimal movement in the affected side, very minimal movement is enough, because the console itself is frictionless, so they can move easily the console, they can play the games with the affected side. Therefore, the training can be initiated from the very initial phase of stroke recovery, and definitely, as the patient reported, the training was exciting and motivating to the patients. Therefore, this kind of training can be incorporated into the clinical stroke rehabilitation, and that will definitely benefit the patients. That's all. Thank you.